Hi, and welcome back to Rediscovering RC, my personal journey as I venture back into the world of RC and RC racing after an almost 20-year hiatus. I'm your host Julio, and in this episode I thought I'd share my first thoughts on the Spektrum DX6R radio. Now, Spektrum, they get a lot of heat, and to be honest, in the little time that I've been playing around with this radio, I really don't understand why. It's been a good experience so far, so let's delve in a little bit closer and see what I think of it. Okay, so in the little bit of time that I've had playing around with this radio, I got to be upfront and say that I've really liked the experience so far. Some of the videos that I've seen on YouTube, obviously well, for the most part, they're around 2 years old, maybe a year and a half at best. And I've seen a lot of things where people complaining that, oh, it takes way too long to boot, the screen is a little slow to respond, things like that. Now, in my personal experience, from the first time that I've gotten this radio, turning it on, yeah, there is a boot up time. I mean, this is an Android operating system. It takes a bit of time for it to boot up. But on my experience, it really took just about a minute to boot up. I've currently got it in sleep mode now. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of sleep. I'm already in the RaceWare software. The actual response on the screen is great. I can go back and forth, no problem. Likewise, I can sweep up here. I can go to the applications menu. Everything seems pretty responsive. I mean, as far as the actual response, oops, sorry about that. Everything is really good here. Let me go ahead and turn on the car. And this is one of the things that I really like is playing around with this. I mean, the response on this is fantastic. I mean, when you see the front end jitter, which is really in response to the spring going back and forth, I mean, this is super precise. And this goes back to my comments in my TLR 22 episode where, I mean, you can feel every little bit of steering on here. Very awesome. So the experience in itself has been great. I'm finding that the response of the radio, I've been driving this car a little bit just to test it inside the house, and I mean, the response is fantastic. As far as the radio itself, the feel, I really haven't had any issues with it. So, my first thoughts have really been great, and I can't wait to take this radio out to the track. Well, I could end this first look here, basically, saying, hey, the radio is perfect, I think it's going to be great for me, and end my first thoughts there. But, of course, I mean, I'm trying to be fair, and I do have a few criticisms about this radio. The first one starts right here with the trigger. The trigger for my finger anyways is a little bit too tight, and it's kind of a shame that there really are no options here. Now, Spektrum did up front when they released this radio, they did make the shape of this trigger available as a 3D printable file. Unfortunately, again, I don't know if it's because Spektrum kind of gets that bad reputation or anything like that. Nobody has really worked with this trigger. I mean, there's somebody out there that has a replacement trigger that you can purchase as a 3D printed part. It would be nice if somebody worked on, making options for this trigger. Primarily to make maybe the trigger a little bit rounder so that, fatter fingers like mine can fit in there. But other than that, I mean, I really can't complain too much about it. The other big thing, of course, is this dreaded little rubber patch for the port here. A lot of people have complained that this is very hard, that it flips out, it doesn't seat properly. If you look at mine isn't too bad, but it's only because I worked on this to get on there. The actual part itself, there's a couple of little slot and a pin that were kind of deformed when I first got the radio, and that's why it was sticking out a lot worse than this. I kind of worked with the part, worked it, and got it to where it's supposed to go. There's a little slot that goes into the micro USB slot, and then there's another pin, like an alignment pin in the bottom. Once I got those straightened out, I mean, it's pretty okay. This little corner sticks up a little bit, but it's way better than when I took this radio out of the box. Well, that'll just about do it for my first, albeit brief, thoughts on the Spektrum DX6R radio. To be honest, I really don't have that much to complain about it. I'm really impressed with how responsive the steering is, so I really can't wait to take this car out on the track and put it through its paces. I hope to put together a future video where I'll go through some of the optional parts that I purchased for this radio. I'll probably record the actual installation of those parts, so if there's any pitfalls or anything like that, I'll be sure to take some notes and share them all with you. In the meantime, please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Any feedback that you give me will be a world of help in making this channel even better in the future. So until then, I'm Julio, your host, and I'll see you next time.